Next up, we're going to talk about Twitter and Trump. Now, this is more. This is again related to the First Amendment here. So let's just have a little bit of a timeline here. So earlier this week, Twitter put a warning, and this is the first time they've done it, but they put a little warning label on one of Trump's tweets that talked about mail-in ballot. Trump had some inaccurate statement that he said, and Twitter put a little badge on it that said, "Get the facts about mail-in voting." It didn't say what he said was wrong. It just said, "Get the facts." And actually, if you look at it, and Ben Thompson made this point in Stratechery, if you actually look at it, it almost looks like it's supporting him. Say, "Get the facts. Look at this exclamation point. Get the facts. This guy's right. Like, let's link to it." But that's not the case. They were actually trying to. That's not what they were doing. But here's what else. And then later, so that happened. Then later, they made Trump made a tweet, and I'm going to read that tweet right here. He made two tweets, and Killer Mike actually referenced it. He referenced the second part of this tweet. So here's what it says. Look, okay, I can't stand back and watch this happen to a great American city. This is Donald Trump tweeting this. To a great American city, Minneapolis. A total lack of leadership. Either the very weak radical left mayor, Jacob Frey, get his act together and bring the city under control, or I will send the National Guard and get the job done right. Okay, then the second tweet, which was a reply to the tweet. If you're not familiar with Twitter, if you reply to your own tweet, it connects them. It makes a thread. So here's the second tweet, and this is the one that Twitter said. Basically, you had to click a button that said, this is against our policy, this is inciting violence, whatever the exact wording was. I don't have it in front of me, but you had to click view to be able to view it. You could not retweet it, you could not like it, you could not reply to it. And it wasn't, and they gave a statement saying that they were going to prevent it from spreading further. It's a strong word to say censor, but they were certainly limiting the ability for Trump to get his statements out there. So here's the second part. This is the second part, and this is the one that was that Twitter had not the warning on, but you had to specifically click view to be able to view it. These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty and we will assume control, but when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you, exclamation point. Okay, it's that last point. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. That is what Twitter took issue with, and that is what Trump is quoting someone, I believe it, and Killer Mike said this in his piece, in his speech. He was talking about he was referencing someone else. I forget who, but someone else has made that statement. I think it was someone who was racist. I think it was from the 60s or something. Now don't quote me on that. But it was basically an ode to that. And when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So Twitter argued that he was promoting violence, and that's against their terms of use, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. I want to start by saying this. For people that think either Donald Trump's Twitter account should be deleted, or they think some of his tweets that you deem wrong should be deleted, again, this is one of those laser grid issues that we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about this. I would say this: do you want a private company determining and adding editorial content around the statements, or limiting the spread of the statements of a democratically elected president? I say no. I don't think a private company should be that should not be their responsibility. Now, Twitter's totally allowed to do this. There's nothing that says they can't. There's section which from the Communications Decency Act in 1996, Section 230, which basically says that these platforms like Twitter, Facebook, I mean, Twitter wasn't around at this point, but they are let's see. You can't sue Twitter for banning or not banning an account. You can't so you can't determine how it is that Twitter should police its network. You can't if someone says something on Twitter's platform, and this is the main part of the Section 230, if someone says something on Twitter's platform that is false or wrong, it's not Twitter's responsibility. Twitter cannot be held liable. Okay. Besides the fact that I don't think it should be a private company's job to censor, not to censor, but in fact, actually, that second tweet it says it's unavailable. So I don't know if it was ultimately deleted before we went on air. That tweet is no longer up. So I don't know if Trump deleted it or what happened there. But I don't think Twitter should be in the business of messing with government officials' statements or doing anything like that. A democratically elected president, I don't think they should be in the business of that. I don't think it's a good road to go down. And this has been Jack Dorsey, the CEO. This has been his position this entire time. He said it's better that we know. And when he went on that podcast spree in like 2019, I think, when he was talking to a lot of people, or was it 2018? I don't think Twitter, he said, listen, it's better that we know what these politicians are thinking. It is newsworthy. We should know what they are thinking. It's only going to further the conversation and benefit the conversation. It doesn't help if we nuke these people from the platform. So 2 things I want to say. One, even if Donald Trump's Twitter account was deleted, he would still be able to get his statements out. Full stop. You think, oh, he's off Twitter now, boom, his base or the people that want to hear him speak aren't be able to, that's not an issue at all. He'll absolutely get the statements out. And number 2, if you are against Donald Trump and you want to limit his momentum as much as possible, you would not want Twitter to pick this fight. You would not want his account to get deleted. You don't think this would absolutely just fuel his base? You don't think many Republicans and Trump would point to this and show that the world, that private companies are conspiring against Republicans? You don't think this would fuel that fire? Even if you think Twitter should nuke his account, fine. If you think that, I urge you, do you think it's going to help anything? I would contend it's going to make it work. Look at when Hillary Clinton called his supporters a basket of deplorables. It fueled them. They rallied around that. That is something that encouraged them. Now, I'm not a Trump supporter at all. I'm going to be voting for Joe Biden, and No Gradient released a statement supporting Joe Biden early on in the Democratic this whole process. This is someone that has severe cognitive issues going. Trump does too, but so does Biden, and Biden oftentimes stumbles over his own words. I have concerns about that, but I am willing to vote for him over Donald Trump. Full stop. I think Donald Trump spits on American values. I think he's super dangerous to what we've built here in this country. I think his attacks on the media are disgusting. That's some third world country shit. That's not what we do in the United States. We don't not hold press briefings for over a year now. And we talked about, I think March 9th was a year anniversary of they stopped holding the White House press briefings. They still do something. But the official ones, and they might have restarted those, but for a year they didn't do those press briefings. That's not what we do. We don't. That's not pursuant to our values. So I urge you to think through a little bit. Think through these issues a little bit. Another thing to think about is when Donald Trump, it's someone you don't like whose Twitter's messing with, who delete his account, who can put fact checking all around it. What if it's someone you do like? What if, always think about these issues, if someone else, if it was your person if it was someone you supported, a lot of times this has to do with presidents, so let's just say it was Obama. Would you want Twitter doing anything around the things he is tweeting? And you would say, okay, well, Obama doesn't tweet anything, or never did tweet anything comparable to what Donald Trump does. And I would say, yes, that's true. But then I would say, as soon as you open up that Pandora's box of messing with a democratically elected president, of messing with their putting fact checks around their tweets, or straight up preventing those tweets from getting out there, you've now opened up the Pandora's box and now it's an established thing, and now what's to stop Twitter from doing it to someone that you like? Now, it's within their power to do so. They can police their content how they want. They're a private company. Again, the First Amendment protects people from the government. It doesn't protect people from Twitter. Twitter, if you tweet something, Twitter can nuke your account. There's no First Amendment. No. That's to protect us from the government. It's not to protect us from fucking Twitter, Facebook, MySpace. No, you can't even post on MySpace anymore. The First Amendment applies to protecting us from the government, not from Twitter. Does not owe you a right to tweet. They do not owe you. That's not in the Constitution. The Founding Fathers didn't say that you get 280 characters. They did not say that. Or that any private company gives you. No. This is that the government cannot interfere in your free speech. So that's something to think about with this. Okay. So I urge you, again, think about these issues holistically. I mean, think about all the executive orders that Obama was doing. A lot of people cheered them. And if you look at the increased, and we've talked about this on the show, if you look at the increased power of the executive branch over the last few decades, this is well documented. This isn't something that's controversial. The executive branch is doing more and more than it ever has. And I don't care if it's Obama in the White House. I don't care if it's Trump. Ask yourself not, why is Trump doing these things? Ask yourself, why is he allowed to do some of these things? Why are these executive orders even allowed to happen? Why is he allowed to intervene in investigations? Why? Well, there's a lot of the times he's not even breaking the law. A lot of the times he's using the executive authority. Why are we not having conversations about limiting this executive branch? These are the ways we need it. Giving more. Congress has been asleep at a wheel with a lot of things. Asleep at the wheel with foreign relations, with war, with the war on terror. The president can essentially now go to war without Congress's approval. That is a lot of power in the executive branch. So these are the conversations I want you to think about. Always think about if it was reversed. What if it's someone that when Obama was there, we were cheering it. I always think, well, let's ask ourselves, would we be happy if someone had the keys to the kingdom that we did not like? I mean, this is what the Founding Fathers, the whole point of the system that was created, it's supposed to be slow. It's supposed to be inefficient. That's what they had in mind. Efficient, super fast moving government that can do things unilaterally is one that takes your rights and does things without the consensus of the people. This is why the whole system works. This is part of the reason why our response to COVID-19 could have been much improved, could have been a hell of a lot better. The amount of autonomy that states have is a lot more than in other countries. We don't have a super strong federal national government. The states have a lot of rights in this country. I think it's the 10th Amendment or the 11th Amendment, states' rights. That anything that the federal government doesn't have, those rights go to the state. So just let's think about these issues that way. Okay.